Sports broadcasting, a unique profession that allows people to get right inside the action and be a part of it without requiring any athletic talent whatsoever. Guys like Joe Buck, Al Michaels, Mike Breen, Red Barber, and Merrill Reese are just a few play by play announcers who have made their mark, while notable color commentators include former players such as Tony Romo, John Crook, as well as coaches such as Hubie Brown and Dick Vitale. Stadium announcers such as Vin Scully and Dan Baker add some personality for the fans at the games to experience. These guys and many others make already great sports moments even better, with many iconic calls accompanying spectacles such as the Miracle on Ice and all of the Super Bowls, among others. Some announcers even have famous quotes or catchphrases such as Havlicek stole the ball line from Johnny Most to Mike Breen's iconic bang line that he utilizes whenever a clutch shot is made. Whichever moment or announcer is your favorite, everyone can agree that announcers are an integral part of the game. What not many people know, however, is what goes into putting on a broadcast. Of course, I can't say for certain what it's like to broadcast a major sporting event such as an NFL or World Cup game, but I do know what it takes to put on a smaller production, such as a high school game. My name is Jack, and this is what it's like to be a sports broadcaster. I got my start as a broadcaster by way of my friend Ethan, who works for a company called the Rally Sports Network, which broadcasts local high school sports onto YouTube. Knowing I like sports, he texted me with his offer to join the spring broadcast crew, and obviously I agreed, and we got underway in late March with a varsity girls lacrosse game. Being the first broadcast, it did not go very smoothly, with the live stream being broken up into four 12-minute streams by mistake. But after that, the broadcasts were relatively successful production wise, and we broadcasted a variety of sports, including varsity lacrosse for both boys and girls, varsity girls flag football, and varsity baseball. An attempt was made to broadcast varsity softball as well, but equipment limitations prevented that from happening. All in all, the season was successful, with us even getting to broadcast some senior night games. This is the setup I use for the broadcasts. This is the capture card. It's a little device that hooks up the camera, which is out of frame, to the actual computer so that the footage from the camera shows up on the screen. This is an audio board. It uses up the most power out of any of the devices we use, and it hooks up the headsets to the computer. It also controls all the volume controls for those headsets. That little device above it with the wires coming out is another device that hooks up headsets to both the computer and the audio board. This right here is one of our two headsets. You put it on your head and it picks up everything you're saying and helps you hear what's going on in the broadcast. This year, we were really lucky to get really nice headsets, and they were both comfortable and had great audio quality. And lastly, this right here is obviously the laptop that we use to run the broadcasts. If you look closely, you can see that we are running the software right now, and you can see the audio levels, and, which you probably can't see right now, the scoreboard controls. Let's talk about broadcast roles. I played a couple of roles on the broadcast, all of which were very important. There were four major roles: play by play, color commentator, visual effects, and camera. Play by play was handled almost exclusively by Ethan, but I was the only other crew member that got a shot, as I got to do play by play during the fourth quarter of a blowout lacrosse game, which you can see playing in the background here. Being play by play is really difficult, especially in high school. You have to fill up time by talking and constantly refer back to the rosters as names are on the jersey. It was fun, however, and I hope to do it again in the future. Color commentator is the only other person who gets to be on the mic. They add additional insight into the game and often, in certain cases, are the comic relief. Now, I don't know if I was much of a comic relief when I was color commentator, but I like to think that I did add additional depth to the viewing experience as color commentators are supposed to do. Visual effects was the person who handled the scoreboard and the clock. Because we didn't have too many people on the crew, this was handled most of the time by the color commentator. It can be challenging to keep up with it, especially when you're also trying to commentate at the same time, but it's a fun job because the graphics we have, I think, are really nice. And then last is camera. This was my least favorite role, but it is one of the most important, and possibly the most important. Stand outside the press box and you record the whole game following the action as it ensues. We also had the privilege of having a very nice camera for this setup, and we had a lot of different camera operators during the broadcast, more than any other role. Obviously, not every broadcast runs smoothly. I already mentioned some of the problems that occurred with some of our productions, but here are some challenges that we face basically every single time. First one is equipment. Not every piece of equipment we need is guaranteed to be working when we need it. We needed to call a couple of audibles across the course of the season when something wasn't working, but ultimately we were able to resolve them. Another issue is rosters. Unlike professional and college teams, high school players don't have names on their jerseys, and athletic rosters aren't always readily available online. To acquire rosters, we usually had to send someone onto the field to ask the coach, or we would ask the same stadium announcer for them. We usually do get them in the end, but it's not always easy to acquire. One more problem is running the broadcast itself. Sometimes mics or cameras cut out, and we just have to fix it as quickly as possible and move on. Another challenge we have is the scoreboard, because usually the color commentator, like I said before, has to announce the game and run the clock, score, and everything else you see on the scoreboard. And sometimes it can be difficult, but you're always able to work around it and put out a good product. To end this video, I just want to say a few more things. Sports broadcasting is a growing and diverse industry with many young people aspiring to pursue it. I personally had a blast doing it. However, a lot more skills than just sports knowledge are needed to excel at this competitive field. Technology skills are crucial, among others, such as actual communication and sports knowledge. The more roles you are capable of filling, the easier it is to work your way up in the industry. I hope this video is entertaining and helps anyone aspiring to pursue a career in broadcasting. Thank you for watching and signing off.